We can say that the World Cup is well and truly alive after what has been happening in the last 2 days. We've got three games, three exciting results as one could hope for. Bangladesh losing is the latest result we have against Netherlands. Australia versus New Zealand. You can say that that was a game of the tournament. We thought last night's game was a game of the tournament, but this just overturned that to be the game of the tournament. High score, quality cricket, two teams at each other, and you could only get one winner. There was Australia, who was up and running in the World Cup. So other teams have to really beware at this point of stage because this is an Australia which everyone knows can really topple any team in the world, and this is the Australia which everybody fears of. A 388 chase where New Zealand fell short by 5 runs at the end of the day. Netherlands winning big. I have it's a big day to discuss about a lot of things. I have both Sandipani and Jen joining me. Sandipani is here. I'll start off with you, Sandipani. Sandipani, what a game we have had. Let's talk about New Zealand with Australia. What a game we've had today. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better when you had a New Zealand team and an Australian team playing. Both fought, especially Australia with the start they got. We expected them to score a 450. New Zealand fought back, clawed back into the game, restricting them to 388. Then you thought Australia was going to win this quite comfortably. Then Rachin Ravindra came out of there. And then you had Jimmy Neesham who fought till the very end. Matt Henry with some hits. Trent Bolt with the last hit of a six, which Manas Labuschagne couldn't hold on to. You had everything in this game. And there was a wide four in the last over. Everything you wanted in the game, you had it. I thought it was going to be a super over. No, it was going to be a tie. There's no super over in the group games, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, I think you had it all. And from a batting perspective, I think it was a ball for all the batters out there. I don't think the bowlers really enjoyed it. And we saw it right from the start as well. Matt Henry coming in for the opening spell was hammered all across, even a Trent Bolt. I think the way Australia came out to bat, I was surprised that was this the same Dharmashala pitch where India New Zealand played, because I think they were batting with such ease and comfort at one point, because Australia were somewhat, say what, 170, 180 after the end of 20 overs, or say a 200 after the end of 22, 23 overs. So from then on, I think Australia would be kicking themselves that they couldn't really kill the game in the first innings itself, scoring well in excess of 400. But then again, New Zealand 388 is a huge total. We have seen in the past teams like Pakistan or teams like Netherlands, Bangladesh really crumble under pressure when they're chasing anything in excess of 350. Third time in a row that Australia have gone on to score in excess of 360 in the last three games: 367 against Pakistan, 399 against Netherlands, and
Yeah.
finally 388 against New Zealand. And also, I think you'll have to give it to the New Zealand team as well. I think they fought really well, because at no point in the game would you have felt that the session was won by Australian while bowling, because New Zealand, after every 10 overs, they were chipping in with 65, 70 runs. They were keeping themselves in the game. They were keeping wickets in hand. But it was the last 10 overs where actually, Rachin Ravindra's dismissal probably turned out to be that they probably needed that one batter who could have stuck along. And then I think it was possible. 97 or 94 runs of the last 10 overs is not rocket science, especially when you have scored around 290 runs in the first 40 overs. And I think it
Yeah.
was a commendable effort from Rachin Ravindra, Daryl Mitchell, and the start that New Zealand got. They were in the ball game right from ball one, and I think they stayed in the game throughout. And we had been complaining about one-sided games till day before yesterday. Yesterday we
Mhm.
had a cracker between Pakistan and South Africa,
Yeah.
probably the wrong because of the wrong cause, because both of them were making some blunders, and it was a comedy of errors in that perspective. But today's first game was an absolute cracker. I think
Absolutely.
apart from the bowlers, everybody really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Just the ballers and the fielders had a tough game today. Other than everybody else, just saw the ball flying here and there. But then let's talk about that batting performance in Australia. I mean, just gave you vibes of Adam Gilchrist and Matthew Head opening the batting and taking apart bowling straight from the word go. If you were a young kid growing up in 2000s, you would know two lefties walking in the park and taking on the bowling was a sight which everybody feared of. Travis Head and David Warner did something very similar. They thought for a moment it was a T20 World Cup going on, and so I had to remind them, just calm down. It's a 50-over game. But yeah, towards the end, New Zealand really clawed back after that partnership. But nonetheless, that start was something, and nobody saw that coming. Even New Zealand was taken aback. Matt Henry went out to ball two no balls. They both were smacked for sixes by Travis Head. But what a way for Travis Head to announce himself back. You can just say
Yeah.
he was sitting on the couch over there in Adelaide or wherever, and he was just practicing all these shots, with one hand.
I mean, it was like it almost felt like he was sitting and observing everyone and seeing how everyone is bowling, or probably watching tons of videos, and he just came prepared as if New Zealand had told him the first 120 balls what exactly are they going to ball in every sequence. I think they scored 177 runs in the first 20 overs, and they just lost one wicket. I think the game could have just ended there, and still Australia could have pulled off a win. That's how damaging the first 20 overs were. But unfortunately, once again, Australia in the middle order really collapsed. I think in the middle overs, they scored at around 5 runs per over, lost 5 wickets, lost half their side after the power play till the 40th over came in. And then again, in the last 10 overs, there was a resurrection led by Maxwell, Inglis, Cummins. I think went back to his KKR versus Mumbai Indians avatar and took down the bowling. I think that was what really made the difference. But yeah, overall, I think you would have to still say, despite the fact that New Zealand did not really bowl, I think in many ways you can't even blame the New Zealand bowlers, right? Everything they were bowling, there was no movement in the pitch. It was
Yeah,
like it was almost as if a bowling machine was set. I think you have to give credit to the spinners, the three spinners, including Glenn Phillips, who turned
yeah,
out to be an amazing bowler. I think he's almost these lads, both Glenn Phillips and Rachin Ravindra, are ending Ish Sodhi's career. He was supposed to be their second spinner, and now all of a sudden, Ish Sodhi seems to be a bench warmer.
yeah.
But yeah, having said that, the Pacers really traveled. So I think today, overall, if you look at it, it was less pace on the ball for the win.
Absolutely. The most number of runs ever scored in a 50 over match in a World Cup. The record which was set by Sri Lanka or South Africa was broken in this game. It was only befitting that this record is broken by these two teams. But Sandeep, let's talk about the Australian batting performance as well. Very little surprised that Cam Green was dropped for Travis Head and Marnus Labuschagne and Steve Smith still held their places. And them both coming into bat at 4 and 5. That's way too less for them to, way too low down the order for them both to come and make a difference. Until and unless there's an injury concerning both Cam Green and Marcus Stoinis, you don't want these two to be batting at number 4 and 5. You can have one of them at 4 and none of them at 5. That's what I would say.
Exactly, and I think that was what actually stemmed Australia's momentum in the middle innings. Like Jaren mentioned, that they were struggling after the dismissal of both Travis Head and David Warner, when you had a phase where Mitchell Marsh and Steven Smith were playing. I think Steven Smith is still that one batter who is, if in who will, once he's in form, he will create an impact in the game. I think he's trying to play more sort of a dynamic or an aggressive role, and that is where he's getting caught in between the crossfire. Neither able to, he's caught between two minds basically. He wants to attack at some point, but then again, he that is not his natural game. We saw that Steven Smith was really destructive when he was at his best in the BBL. He can be that player who can score hundreds in 60-50 deliveries as well. He can be that player for you as well, but then he needs those first 15 to 20 balls to go his way, to get himself in, to get his eye in. And once that happens, I think he's one of the best players in the world. Even in the white ball cricket, you can say that he's a very stable cricketer. But right now, I think he's a bit off form. And the starts that Australia are providing them with, David Warner to back-to-back hundreds, and now a 82 of 61. This is, I think, the third back-to-back games where Australian openers have gone on to score hundreds, either of the openers. And so the starts that they are providing, and Steven Smith was coming in at number 3. He was finding it hard to keep on the momentum going. We saw him coming in at number 4 in one of those games, Maxwell getting promoted, but Maxwell got out for a golden duck in that game against Pakistan, so that didn't really impact it. Today, I think Mitchell Marsh's knock was also a very negative impact sort of a knock, because he
Absolutely.
was finding it very hard to get going. Some 34 odd runs of 50 deliveries in a game where both teams have gone on to score a cumulative total of 720 odd
Yeah,
runs. 760 odd runs is a pathetic stat to have. I mean, scoring at a strike rate of some 70, 65, 70,
yeah,
when the entire
yeah,
team is going at 140, 150.
yeah,
So I think that was another innings that did not really help a Marnus Labuschagne or a Steven Smith to really get their mojo going. And having
yeah.
said that, I have maintained this, that Marnus Labuschagne is not their player for the white ball cricket right now. He is a very good test player. He should stick to his strengths. You don't see a Pujara coming in ODI and trying to slog in at number 4, number 5, and get the job done for the team. He's coming in at number 6. In one of
Yeah,
those games,
the
he came in
funny
at number
part is
7,
they
number
have the
8.
resources as well. They have a Cam Green, Marcus
Yeah.
Stoinis sitting out there.
Exactly, and
Absolutely. I
I
mean,
think even if a Cam Green is not probably he hasn't really come good for them in this World Cup so far. Probably less opportunities as well. But I think Marcus Stoinis is a very experienced cricketer, and you should, if you have the option, you should definitely have him in your 11 because he can provide you those 3-4 overs with the ball as well. And you saw how crucial it was in the game against Pakistan where he came in and provided that wicket that breaking the opening partnership and brought back the momentum in Australia's game. And I think that is an important factor to have. Mitchell Marsh is not really clicking as the sixth bowling option. I think they're putting a lot of pressure with the ball on Maxwell. Even today, he had to complete his quota of 10 overs. He's bowling really well. That is a separate thing altogether. But I think since they have the resources, they can easily implement a Marcus Stoinis in place of a Marnus Labuschagne.
True.
yeah,
That's something very right. Yeah, Jen, go ahead. You were saying something.
yeah, I think I mean, Marcus Stoinis is still facing that niggle, and I think that's the reason why he wasn't in the playing 11. But I just don't understand why. I think, to be very frank, if you look at the roles that you need a Manas Labuschagne to play, it's already been played by Steve Smith, and I think maybe the only way I see, at least for me, the only way that I see Manas Labuschagne actually fitting into this 11 is when Steve Smith decides to retire from cricket, or he's not available for ODI selection. When talk about Steve Smith as well, I think I really don't understand what's really happening there. Maybe the only thing that I really think can explain this, is the fact that he is looking to play a game that is not him, right? Remember how when he was the captain of Rajasthan Royals before he was, before Sanju Samson was made the captain in the IPL, you saw Steve Smith try to slog every delivery, get out of shape, bend out of shape really, and play very absurd shots, to be very honest. And today, or rather this whole World Cup, I've been feeling him doing the same thing. I think he needs to calm down a little bit and just keep rotating the strike. That's the Steve Smith that we know, that I still think can fit in this Australian batting lineup,
Yeah.
especially because of that middle order collapses. They need him to hold this team together as the glue that he can be. But for some reason, he did that against India for a while before he was bowled by that Jaffer. And I think ever since that, maybe there's this thought in his head that each ball that he's facing has his name written on it, and maybe one of them will get through. And maybe that's the reason why he's trying to put ballers under pressure. But that's not really who Steve Smith is. Steve Smith puts ballers under pressure the same way Virat Kohli puts ballers under pressure.
Yeah.
I think that's what he should go back to.
Absolutely. That's a good point. That's a very good point which you've put up regarding Steve Smith
And I think
because
he's a very busy cricketer, which we haven't
yeah.
really seen him be. He is really fidgety at the crease. Be it white ball, be it red ball, he has always been fidgety. But I think,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, the
No,
calmness is
yeah.
missing somewhere.
I'll mention something else, right? So I noticed. I mean, not exactly I noticed, but also there was this. There's also a breakdown of his technique which was done. So what they realized is since 2019, 2020 onwards, Steve Smith, when it's a written rule in cricket when you're batting, you have to make sure that you are the most steady, balanced player, and time batting is always about timing and balance, right? Timing only comes when you are balanced, your head is balanced. But it is noticed that ever since, like, for a long time, Steve Smith has made a change in his technique. Now it seems he's overdoing it a little bit, where he's taking that last step towards the ball even before the ball is being balled. So it's like he takes one step as the ball is being balled and then takes another step if he has to play on the front foot or gets on the back foot. So in case if he misreads the line of the ball, his balance is already off. So for him to, make that adjustment, it really throws him off. And I think today's shot is a very good example of it because he kind of lost his shape by the time he played that shot.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a very good point because one thing which we have spoken about Steve Smith as well is how his head is so steady on the crease, though he makes a lot of movements before the ball has been released. Everybody's got the trigger movements, but Steve Smith, particularly that off-stump trigger movement which he has where he walks across the
Yeah.
off-stump
Yeah.
and tries to play. I think he's overdoing it, as you rightly mentioned. And also his stride, as he is trying to shorten his stride slightly more, it's maybe not working a lot for him. Maybe he has to maybe reassess, watch his previous videos. Maybe he can explain to us better as to
Yeah.
why he does it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, he's someone who knows his game better than anyone, is what I believe. And he's
Yeah.
someone who spends a lot of time
And
working on his
I
own
think
game.
he's also a very unorthodox cricketer because
Yeah.
if you see him bat, you don't expect him to have the stats that he has in Test cricket because somebody
But let's be
with so much
honest,
movement, yeah.
it's white ball cricket and Steve Smith has been a dilemma which has been there for quite a while now. I mean,
Yeah,
now
but
it's ever
Abel,
so.
I mean, he has gone back. You can't really criticize him on the white ball dilemma because he has gone back to the to play for. I mean, play in the Big Bash League, play in
I
the.
mean, he has, but look at the
Yeah,
position he's walking into this team. Number
yeah,
four is not even
exactly.
getting his ideal number
No, no, I
position,
think today
which he
today he
like to
came in
bat.
at number 4. I think if it's a normal situation, he'll come in at number 3.
No, I
But
think
Either way, to be very
you also
fair,
have to look at
I
it
think
in
he's
this
going to
way.
bat number four in this World Cup. It's very clear
He's
that Mitchell
done
Marsh
well,
is going to.
right? Over the years, I think till 2019, he wasn't really that good. I'll agree with Abel. But then 2020, 2022, he had a very good year. And that is when he had tried to implement this new technique. I think now,
yeah,
in many times in your head, you feel something is working for you, you put more. Steve Smith is one of those cricketers. I think him and Ashwin can be put in the same category in that sense. Sometimes you see that when something is going wrong, or even when something is going right, both these cricketers try to overthink it a little bit. And I think there's some reason behind this movement, because this is something that I've noticed since 2023 till 2022, and I mean 2020 and 2022. He had a good average. He had 63, 67 average in one day
Yeah,
format, which is pretty good, pretty healthy. And
and
strike rate was
also
also
I think you have to
80-100.
credit him for the average that he had in India before the World Cup as well. I think he had a
Yeah.
absolutely.
spectacular record in India, in ODIs as well. He was scoring hundreds of the 60-65 balls in the bilateral series that he was playing against India, coming in at number 3 for the side. So I think, yeah, the balance is obviously something that they'll have to look into. And also I
Mhm.
feel Steven Smith is not a cricketer that really excels when he comes after the 25th or 27, 28th over. Somewhere
Absolutely.
after the 20th over, he does not really excel in that, because I think
Yeah.
he comes in a situation, if the field is not that spread out, I think he can really express himself and really get going right from ball one as well. And
Absolutely.
I think that is where Australia will have to. I mean, it's the good starts that Australia are getting that is
Mhm.
resulting in Steven Smith not performing. So I think they won't really
Absolutely.
mind it so much.
Yeah, when you're winning, everything looks good for them.
Yeah,
Both Nabil and also vlogs of Pranshu has also mentioned one factor. Both have given the same comment, which is
Yeah.
Dal Mitchell played a loose shot. Yeah, that's a good point,
pressure.
because if you look at
I
that
mean,
particular
pressure.
over which Dal Mitchell got out, there was already 9 runs or 10 runs which were accumulated by two boundaries, which was hit by Rachin Ravindra
Rachin
there.
Ravindra.
So at that point, was there a need for him to come down the track and play that shot? I mean, if you look, Daniel Mitchell, if you would have stayed there, you remember Tom Latham is not your biggest hitter. Now, we didn't mention about Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, and also Couple did rightly mention that Tom Latham is just exact opposite of what Marnus Labuschagne and Steve Smith is for New Zealand team. He's not a boundary hitter. He's gonna come in there, consume balls, and there was a complete derailment from what Mitchell and Rachin was batting when Tom Latham had come to bat. He's not gonna come and up the ante. So today you saw that from the very word go. When Daniel Mitchell was there, everything looked very good. That partnership was building. Australia were under pressure. Was there any need to play that shot? Because it didn't make any sense. Even Ricky Ponting did raise this point as well after on. When you're chasing a score, you go as per the required run rate. I know you want
Yeah.
to hit out some balls, but do you really want to take a Zampa on? You could have taken another
And
ball. Mitchell Marsh was yet to ball. There was Glenn Maxwell who you could have taken on. But why a Zampa, and you created the opportunity? You mistimed it, got caught in the long on.
yeah, I mean, I'll add another issue to that, Abel. It's also the shot selection that was absolutely, I mean, bizarre to me, because I know Del Mitchell likes to hit spinners down the ground. That's his go-to. And otherwise, he tries to play them off the back foot, over cow corner, or go for that pull of that shorthand pull that you go against spinners. That's his two go-to shot. He does tend to, I would say, when it comes to six hitting, only attempt those two shots more often than not, and then otherwise a sweep, a conventional sweep. But then even then, you usually see him hitting it down the ground. So that delivery was a little bit outside off stump. It was meant to trap Daryl Mitchell in that same mindset, where he expected it to be full enough to go downtown, but it was not full enough, and it was also against the turn that he hit that shot. So exactly falling into Adam Zampa's trap there at the worst possible time. Credit has to be given to Adam Zampa, because after getting hit by Rachin Ravindra, he still went for that delivery. And I think that's also where you have to realize that that was the best delivery to just play down the ground for a single.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah,
Yeah, I will come in.
I obviously
But
feel that today all the spinners were really gutsy. You talk about a Glenn Phillips, you talk about a Mitchell Santner, Adam Zampa, or even say Maxwell. I think they bowled their hearts out, and also I think they were taking those risks as well. And talking about Daryl Mitchell, I feel that they were at a stage where they were going well. They had a good partnership going on, and so at that point I feel what he felt was to sort of take the game away, or get them to some sort of a position from where they did not have that pressure of a required rate. So I won't really discredit him for taking on, say, Adam Zampa, because I would have understood that if, say, it would have happened in the later stages where they did not really have enough wickets in hand. That is why Glenn
Hmm.
Phillips playing that stroke against Maxwell is what really surprises me. I am more
Yeah.
disappointed with the shot that Glenn Phillips played rather than the shot that Darren Mitchell played, because they were still
Absolutely.
early in the innings, they were building the innings, whereas Glenn
But
Phillips.
I thought Glenn Phillips was all over the place, and he's been all over the place for some time, and he's not finding his timing at this point in this World Cup.
But
I
that
mean, I
can't be
don't
an
think
excuse
I can't
for one
really
of your best power
remember
hitters,
one
right?
innings in the World Cup he's let it up. He's just looked extremely out of form. I mean, he's taking his team, he's getting that spot in the team because
Apart from the game against Afghanistan,
fielder,
I guess.
he's
I
balling
guess.
now, so you can't really drop him. He's giving you all three as facets of the game right now for the team, and I think it's about time that he performs with the bat as well. Aisha says, Abel said that he was fantastic. It's a Tapal team moment in our live right now, as it happens in all these PSLs and all those Pakistan matches. Tapal team moment. Tapal team, you're watching us. We're open for sponsorships as well. Instead of
Absolutely.
sponsoring those, highway matches where nobody watches, sponsor us rather. We can give you more. We have more viewers
We
than
gave
what
a
is there
demo
in the
in terms
ground.
of in terms of today's run fest as well, that we can even produce some
Yeah.
really high scoring games.
Yeah, just like made the T as fantastic as the Palti moment. See, the Palti, we're promoting you even without even you telling us. That's how good we are. Gracious for Tapalti. But either way, let's go. Let's talk about this. Kapil Verma has asked which team will be better for India to face in semi-final. I think there's no team at this point in
Yeah.
the World Cup which is better for India to face. I
I
think that's
think
a
if
good
you
I
have
point.
to
think
be the
win the
world
toss.
champions, you'll have to beat them all.
Exactly, that's a good point.
Yeah. Maybe win the toss, bat first against South Africa. But aside from that, no team. I mean,
See, actually, I'm not going to take these kind of comments to be very honest. Let's be very fair on that. Yeah, but either way, let's talk about Sachin Ravindra, right? Only two people before the age of 24 has scored 200s. One is Sachin, next is Rachin. Now, you know where this guy is heading. What a tournament this guy was. Before the start of the World Cup, he was just a number eight who used to come in test matches and score some handy runs or try to save a test match here and there. He was not even a considerate batter in any form.
yeah.
Let it be his domestic cricket in back in New Zealand, or let it be the international game in any format. Now that Pakistan innings, which he played in Hyderabad, has opened the eyes for everybody to think, okay, wait a moment, this guy can do something. And he's truly let this World Cup on fire. I mean, he's doing it in every other innings and he's scoring big runs now. He's got the range. He gives you a little bit of a classy left-hander elegance, and he's hitting six. The range of in which he's hitting the sixes, it makes you. Some of the shots make you wait and be like, "Wait, is that Yuvraj Singh who's striking?" He's got that kind of a bat swing as well. So that's what he is. He's turning out to be a vital all-rounder. I'm sure a lot of IPL teams are waiting with their purses filled in for this guy,
Yeah.
especially that home team where he can really go to. I'll be very ecstatic if he comes there. But either way, uh, what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Sajid, I'll get to you. This guy is something.
yeah.
There's got something about this guy, right? Just like
Absolutely.
player of the tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I hope he doesn't end up at RCB if he wants to win a trophy. I think it's good for him
Any
if he
team
goes
other than
to head.
RCB would be good.
Yeah, I think any team other than RCB,
इंडिया
probably
में
even
कुछ ज्यादा
Punjab would
उखाड़
be
लेगा
good.
या तो चेन्नई में ज्यादा
Uh,
उखाड़ लेगा. He's not gonna get to play any of
definitely.
these.
Definitely. Look at him, Mitch Santner. He's won IPL without even playing IPL matches,
That's
bro.
what you don't want. You want
That's
to
all I'm
play.
saying.
Look
That's
at
how
Sakib Al Hassan. We pick up players from Bangladesh.
let's pick
See, I
up in
mean,
Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. हम अच्छे players को pick
anyway,
करेंगे.
that aside, I think that we'll get to that debate next year when the IPL starts. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the thing about Rachin Ravindra is
I don't know.
this
Wait,
guy
wait,
is
Jen. I don't know how we end up talking about IPL in every stream, somewhere or the other. Which is
Because
isn't
you
it?
probably
bring it up.
Isn't
pretty
it
bad.
you?
Because
It's
you bring it up.
you.
I bring it up. Why you guys follow it? I talk. I
Because
finish
you
it.
bring it
You guys
up.
pick
We
it up.
have
I don't
to
know why
remind
you guys
you.
do that.
Talking
There's
about
no point
Rachin
you guys to pick
Ravindra,
it
I
up.
think he is the third highest run scorer
अभी
right
अभी
now
संदीप
in
ने
this
बैठ के
tournament.
बोलेगा अभी हमारे पास ट्रॉफी है तो आके बोलेगा 5 ट्रॉफी है. This is not what it was for. It was
I
just
think
my
two
reference.
centuries and that 74 against India was fantastic as well. Yes, he was dropped by Ravindra Jadeja, but I think the way Rachin Ravindra has contributed to this World Cup has been spectacular because,
Yeah.
and like you said, the elegance. I think he is a very elegant player. He looks those shots. I mean, he makes those shots look easy, which is really difficult for some of the players. And I think he got out at a point where it was almost difficult for the other players or the opposition to think that they could get him out because he was hitting Cummins past point on one delivery, pulling him over deep mid wicket for a six on the other delivery, and hitting him, lofting him over cover drive, over covers for another six. Say in the same over, he was playing three completely different strokes. And he was really getting on top of all the bowlers, not just Cummins. I think he was playing Zampa well as well. And also I think Maxwell was that one bowler that they really thought could come in with the angle and cause some trouble to Rachin Ravindra. But I think he has looked really comfortable both against spinners and fast bowlers. And I think Kane Williamson's injury has been a blessing in disguise for him. And I think now when Kane Williamson comes back, I don't think he's getting that number 3 spot. I think he'll have to fight, come back and take the number 4 spot.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, to be very fair, what has really happened is New Zealand are in serious trouble here when it comes to thinking about who do they play. They have a Will Young, they have a Tom Latham, they have a Glenn Phillips. These three players will have to make way for Kane Williamson, one of them for sure. And the biggest issue for all of this is they cannot afford to lose these games in a row. They're going to be playing in South Africa next, then they're going to be playing Pakistan. And if they lose Sri Lanka, Pakistan will be in with a chance to qualify into the semi-final. Remember that. So Pakistan will be really hoping New Zealand lose next 3 of their games, and Australia only win 1 of the next 3 games. So these are the things which Pakistan will be hoping for them to qualify. Aisha, if you're listening, just giving you some positive news. But let's be honest, for Kane Williamson, I don't really see a spot in this team, especially in the limited overs format, until unless he's coming up to open the batting in Will Young's position.
I think now the issue is going to be, either you replace a Tom Latham either you bring in a Tom Latham or you bring in a Kane Williamson. The reason I say that is because it's the same conundrum that the Australia are facing with
And
Labuschagne.
Glenn Phillips keeps.
Glenn Phillips keeps. So, but then the issue here is, do you remove someone who's that senior a player who's really led your team well? I mean,
But
I
why
know
not Will
Tom Latham
Young?
is not done.
Why would you not take out, say, a Will Young for the time being? Because I know he has a bright future because
I
he's
mean,
doing
you look
scoring
at
some
Will
runs.
Young; he still scores his runs quickly. It's not like he's taking his time, he's waiting. Because moment you put in Kane Williamson and a Tom Latham in the same lineup, it'll cause the same run flow that you are facing in Australia. That Australia is facing with Labuschagne and Steve Smith. It's the same way they're playing right now. The reason it doesn't affect New Zealand a lot is because Tom Latham's the only one who plays that way.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
Rachin Ravindra, he goes after the bowling. Devon Conway too. All these lads, they have boundary scoring options. But both Kane Williamson and Tom Latham take their time. So
Absolutely.
I know
I'd have
the
another
way
thing,
it's going to be.
have Mark Chapman back, then I'd have Jimmy Neesham retain his position.
See, I
Then
think you're talking
Glenn
about the
Phillips
next
goes out.
next
Glenn
T20
Phillips
World Cup.
goes
I
out.
think this
Glenn
should be
Phillips
the
goes out.
combination for the next T20
Kane
World Cup.
Williamson in for Kane Williamson in for Will Young. Tom Latham remains with this position because I can't have Kane Williamson and Will Young and Tom Latham in the same. I can't have Will Young and Kane Williamson in the same team because Rachin Ravindra should be batting in top 3. I don't see Rachin Ravindra batting
Yeah.
anywhere else. So that's one of the factors why I'd have Kane Williamson either straight swap as an opener or else come at number 3, which I still am not a big fan of, to be very honest.
No, I
So
think
Kane Williamson,
opening should be something that he should do because that will maintain the right hand left hand combination as well, along with Devon Conway, and
yeah,
then he'll have the option of a Rachin Ravindra left handed on first change. And I think Daryl Mitchell has been on excellent purple patch of form as well. I think people
yeah.
are going all gaga about Rachin Ravindra scoring all those runs, but I think he has
Mhm.
been really ably supported by Daryl Mitchell in all the innings. He's
Absolutely.
providing those stats, but I think he would have been happy if he could have really converted. Apart from the game against India, which he went on to score 130. Apart from that
Absolutely.
game, I think he would have really loved if he could have converted one of those starts into another century.
True. Jude Bellingham or Rachin Ravindra? Rachin Ravindra. I don't want to talk about the first guy either. So,
Come on, that
so
was brilliant, Zabel. Just because it's against your team, appreciate good football, man.
nah, man. Abel, your brother is on fire. Good for him, bro. Good for Rachin. He's doing
Both his
good.
brothers. I think this is the moment where you ask, Abel, what are you doing with your life? One is playing in La Liga, one is playing in the World Cup. What are you
Who's the
doing?
guy playing in the La Liga?
Jude Bellingham, that's what she said.
How is he my brother at any stage? How is this guy coming in now? Okay,
I
either
think we
way.
need to probably get
Yeah.
another edit of
Proud of my
you
brother.
and
Proud of my brother. Either
you
way.
alongside Jude Bellingham and Rachin Ravindra.
Nah. We're not going there. But either ways, let's talk about the other game which took place today, which is Netherlands and Bangladesh. Mighty result, you'll say so, for the Netherlands team. After getting bowled out in the worst possible way against Australia, for them to hit back against Scott Edwards scoring a fighting knock, and his team is gone to victory against a Bangladesh team in Eden Gardens, where you expect a Bangladesh team to do well. But what a performance that was from the Dutch team once again, Sandivani.
Exactly, and I think it was a huge surprise that Netherlands got the win over Bangladesh because if you see the conditions, if you see everything the conditions at Eden Gardens, I think it really favors Bangladesh's side, or see the combination that they have. And also, I think players like Litan Das and all the batters were in a better form than Netherlands. And I think Netherlands were completely broken after the hammering that they took against Australia. I mean, considering 399 runs and getting dismissed for 90 is an embarrassing fate. And people would have started questioning their credentials or credibility of even playing the World Cup. But to come back, and this was the second win of the World Cup, having defeated South Africa, now Bangladesh. So they are also going on to make a statement that they are not here just to, I mean, let teams just be a pushover and let teams run them over. And I think it was a very important statement. It was a surprising pitch from Eden Gardens, I thought. And everybody even in the pitch report, it was said that it is going to be a really, really high scoring game. But I mean, 229 and then Bangladesh getting dismissed for some 142. It was a really, really low scoring affair, and I'm not really against it. And also, you can't say that a specific section did well. Pacers, I mean, surprisingly, Pacers performed really well in this. Paul Van Mikaran coming in, picking up 4 wickets. I think everybody in this channel who have been following us for over a year knows that I have been fanboying over Paul Van Mikaran, and I mean, his bowling since the T20 World Cup in 2022. I think getting those 4 wickets and match-winning contribution was really important in today's game. And also, I feel Scott Edwards really is leading this team from the front, and this is the difference when you compare, say, a Pakistani captain and a Netherlands captain, because the skipper is leading from the front, showing intent. One thing that really concerns me about this Netherlands team is they are losing the first 4 wickets within say 60 or 70 runs in every game.
Yeah.
The top order is collapsing or misfiring in all the games. Max Sodaud, Vikramjit Singh, Colin Ackerman, Baz the leader, they are not really coming to the party.
Mhm.
And today you saw that once again Scott Edwards had to come in and play a very sensible knock. I mean, he played a runnable knock, he played a brilliant knock, and he was supported by the lower middle order as well, like in the game we saw against South Africa or the game we saw against Sri Lanka. So I think this is something that Netherlands will really, really have to work on.
Yeah,
Apart from that, their bowling did excellently well. And I think Bangladesh were never really in the game. Once they
absolutely.
lost 5 wickets, I think they were just looking to play out 50 overs to reduce some sort of net run rate. I don't know what they will do with the net run rate when they win only 1 out of 10 games or 9 games.
Yeah.
But at one point, you could see that they were actually trying really hard to survive the 50 overs, and they couldn't even do that. Courtesy Netherlands bowling, I think it was a complete domination and a low scoring game for a surprise at Eden Gardens on a fresh pitch. Really
Yeah,
surprising.
maybe it's a freshness of the pitch which has led to that. Because early on in Eden Gardens, especially in early in domestic system, you see a lot of movement and bounce in the wicket. That's one thing we've been seeing in Eden Gardens pitch for the last 6, 7 years. But Jaren, what is next for Bangladesh? I mean, they could have had possibly their best ever World Cup in terms of at least finishing mid-table. Now this looks like a horrific campaign.
Yeah.
Losing to the Netherlands, barring that game against Afghanistan, which they had won. I really wish that Afghanistan had won that game now, looking back at it. Just could have really spiced things up. Bangladesh have done nothing. That's also really spoiled the spice of the tournament. Them winning against Afghanistan now, if you look back at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be the first time that in some time that a World Cup is being held in the subcontinent, and probably there's only going to be one subcontinent team, and really surprising. I think many ways there's a couple of reasons I see for that. One, obviously, the Indian pitches have it's the first time ever that the World Cup's happening only in India. Before it was always co-hosted by the other nations, and I think it's also because Indian conditions have changed a lot in the last few years because it's become a lot more batting friendly than opposed to the previous few years. 2011, for instance, it was a lot more abrasive pitches everywhere. You remember how dark the ball used to get. Plus, the fact that there are only two, there are two balls that are being used now, which means that it's basically a 25 overall ball by the end of the match is over. I think other factors probably the fact that many of these players, foreign players, are now playing in India at least 2 months a year, and if not playing, at least they play in the nets. They know the talent. They know how to play on these pitches now, so it's not even an alien condition for these guys anymore.
Yeah.
So I think what's happened now is more and more the conditions have become alien for the Asian powers like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. The quality of cricket that these three nations played has also deteriorated a lot. I think especially Pakistan, have been absolutely shambolic. But Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, especially, and Sri Lanka has lost their golden generation. So that's also an issue. And I think, on the other hand, some of these teams are really learning how to play cricket in India. And Netherlands, hats off to them. They trained more than anyone else. They were in India longer than India for this World Cup, and that
Yeah.
credit has to be given to them. And I think their preparation is finally giving dividends.
Absolutely. They'll be very happy if you
Yeah.
look back, and if they can pull out one more result, they'll be extremely
I think
confident.
Ryan Cook is doing a great job coaching this Netherlands side. I think he deserves all the credit and more, because right from the T20 World Cup itself, you could see, and they are taking everything so seriously. You talk about Pakistan, you talk about Bangladesh, and you have to go back and see their schedules right before the World Cup. They were not really preparing or having these sort of training sessions for the World Cup, whereas Netherlands were really serious. They were back in India. They were
Yeah.
practicing for this World Cup specifically. They went past West Indies and Zimbabwe, teams like West Indies, Zimbabwe, and Ireland, to make their way into the World Cup. So I think you have to give a lot of credit to this Netherlands side. Talking about Bangladesh, I feel that this is a team soon to be going under transition, and I feel that Saqib Al Hassan, Mushfiqur
Yeah.
Rahim, Muhammadullah are all in their twilight phases of their career, and the most that we can probably see them is probably till the next T20 World Cup. That is
Yeah.
also a far out cry. I don't know
Yeah.
whether we'll get to see that. Aisha
Absolutely.
talking about Bangladesh and Pakistan, bhai dono airport पर, but I think both are going to take alternative routes. Pakistan is going to take the ship and Bangladesh the train.
Oh God, that was a worse destruction of Pakistan than what Australia
But
or any team in the World Cup did.
yeah, good one. But I think on that note, I will end this
That was
live on that
brilliant,
note,
Sandeep.
guys.
That was brilliant.
That's okay. That was
Yeah.
brilliant. Sandeepan at his absolute best.
Thank you, I guess.
But
I mean, tomorrow we have India
let's
versus England.
tomorrow we have India versus England. Will be here
Yeah.
at 12 p.m. sharp for the preview. 12 p.m. Just telling you the time. 12 p.m. sharp will be here. India versus England, and we'll be previewing the game. We have a lot of news coming in because not sure if Shami will retain his place after that 5-wicket haul
Yeah.
because the pitch is
I
going
think
to turn.
especially
Apparently.
because India's got some new fast bowlers, the likes of Virat Kohli and Kuldeep
Yeah.
Yadav. So, I think
Yeah,
Ashwin pretty much has
Jadeja.
become an off-spin coach now in India. I think he
Yeah.
should be removed from the squad.
Yeah, so a lot of these bowlers are bowling. So India have 11 players who are ready to bowl tomorrow. That's a good news. For the
Yes.
first time ever, the Indian team we're gonna have 11 players who can bowl and
And
bat.
also, I think Hardik Pandya is going to get rested, right?
Yeah, Hardik
Yeah.
Pandya is not fit. So the update of the Hardik Pandya for a lot of people who wanted to know is Hardik Pandya started to bat. Hardik Pandya's swelling has come down. He is going to start bowling from in the coming couple of days. I think he'll be fit to go by the Netherlands game that is 12th of November, and for the semi-final, which is good, which is not bad. You can give him that
Not
leeway because India will possibly qualify by then, and you don't have to really play him on inconsequential matches
If
where
India
you're not
wins
going to.
tomorrow, I think they guarantee their qualification, because I think there are
Yeah.
only a limited number of teams that can go up to 12 points. And I think once the Afghanistan versus Sri Lanka game takes place day after tomorrow, if India wins tomorrow and either of the team faces day after tomorrow, India automatically ensures a qualification to the
Yeah,
semifinals.
so India
Yeah.
wins tomorrow. They're almost through. I think 12 points is the cutoff as we did predict at the
Is the
end of
cutoff? At most?
yeah,
I think we are talking about Pakistan, England, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka possibly getting to a maximum of 10 points. So I think 12
yeah.
is
That is if
obviously
they
through.
win all their games as well. A lot of
Yeah.
ifs and buts there once again. So that's about it from us. I mean, lots to talk about in the coming days. I mean, we are going towards the business end of the tournament. I know games can get really boring because we're almost seeing who are going to really make the cut, and that's also because of the quality in
But I
these
think the
teams.
quality
Because
of the game today was outstanding,
yeah,
especially the
that's
Australia
because
versus
the
New
two.
Zealand.
This could possibly be a semi-final contest in the World Cup, what we're talking about. So you just saw the
Absolutely.
two best teams from the top four really
But I
And the
fighting
think
it out.
second game was
one
equally
good thing
boring.
about tomorrow is also, India was knocked out by England in the last World Cup. Now India gets an opportunity to knock out England this World Cup. I think
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
I think
season of
England
revenge.
already have one foot out of the World Cup anyway.
I think India will do
yeah,
the rest of it. India, but
yeah.
India gets an
So
opportunity to close the lid.
India have a lot of scores to settle this World Cup.
Yeah.
So we'll settle one by one by one. हिसाब बराबर करेंगे. खत्म होने से
Yes.
पहले, तो उसी उसके बाद हम बात करेंगे. So that's about it from us. Good night, all of you. See you all tomorrow. Have a good night. And India is taking on England once again in Lucknow. So do not forget to make your teams in Boom 11. And you can check out our shop feature where you can buy some groceries and some accessories from our shop, and where you can earn Boomer points, where with those points you can enter into premium contests. And there you can win a load of prizes. Remember that. And check out our predictor feature as well. How much do you think will be a pass score in Lucknow pitch? Or how many wickets will be taken by both teams? How many sixers will be hitting the contest? All these things can be predicted in the Boomer 11 app, where you can win a lot of prizes for that for absolutely free of cost there as well. So check this out. It's Boomer 11. Once again, the link is there in the description on Apple App Store and Google Play Store. It's available. Check it out. Good night and see you all very soon. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye,
guys.
guys.